Hello everyone, welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. The XRP community was actually expecting a pump, but what actually happened is a dump. We actually dumped around -7%. So compared to other cryptocurrencies, we are the one who went most down. Today we'll actually look why it's the case, whether it's due to technical reason or it's fundamental. In the technical side, first let's see the chart of XRP to BTC. So if we actually compare both the previous cases, what we can see is, yes, after the bottoming out, but with a bit of volume, we actually crossed that overhead resistance directly. Then we retested and moved high. So here also it's the same. We went up high, we retested, then we again moved up higher. But here we couldn't manage to break the overhead resistance. But if we actually zoom out a little bit and look the previous cases, we can see something like it went down, then it went up, tried that area once, the overhead resistance, it got rejected, it came back down, then it moved up, crossing that. So even the previous case, it went up, it tried that overhead resistance, it couldn't break that resistance, it came back, dumped, making a new low. Here it didn't make a new low, but yeah, it came back down where it was trading in the same trading range before that pump. So if we compare that, what we can see is it didn't actually manage to go through. Even after that pump, it came back down. So that's XRP BTC chart. Now if we look at XRP USD chart in a 4-hour time frame, it's a zoomed in view, and this one, what we can see is we actually had overhead resistance here at this particular area. Previously that was a support, it was being supported, then we actually went through that. So after that it became a resistance in each point. As we can see, yesterday I thought at the initial stage we were actually pumping high, we are going to cross that resistance, but it was a fake out. We actually came back into the same trading range. If we zoom in a bit, we go into 1-hour time frame, we can see that there was a triangle forming, and at initial stage we crossed, we broke the triangle, and we actually managed to make a bull flag there. Then we went up high. So personally I actually thought that this is working. Technically it's working because the volume was also rising at that particular point, but that was a fake out. It actually came back, not retesting that area, it actually came back into the same trading range, as we can see. So when people say that we dumped a lot, I personally don't think so, because if we look a week back, we were even below that. So comparing to that, we actually came a bit up. See, there's a diamond pattern which was being talked by a different analyst, but if we consider from late September, we were actually slowly making higher highs, slowly making higher lows and moving up high. And still now it's the case. If we take a trend line and see what was happening, we can see that we made a touch here, then we made another here, then now it's the third. So we can actually say that this is our trend line. We got 3 touches there. So hopefully this if this trend line remains, then we may see an uptrend in the same pattern, but it won't be going to $3 straight away, or $5, or even $1 straight away. It will be moving slowly. Now this is the technical side of it. At the same time we also have overhead resistance of 200-day moving average, but the good news is we have a little bit support below from 20-day moving average as well as the 50-day moving average. Now if we actually look at the news, people actually states about the disappointments what we are talking about. Like, we all expect a pump, but as the traditional finance work, we know that expect something, then pump it at that time. When the event happens, when the news is out, you are going to take your profit. So there will be a dump. So in the fundamental side, that can be the reason what happened. Along with that, we were all expecting something much more. We were expecting, say, in a previous video we saw that someone was asking about congratulating Brad Garlinghouse about 400 partners. At that time Brad Garlinghouse didn't actually opposed that, but after that he tweeted out that that was not the case. That was we were not above 400 customers. But personally, we were actually thinking, this time in the swell we will be getting announcement more than that. But the case was a bit different. We actually got around 300 customers, in which the Ripple tweeted out some of the customers which they recognize. So say, I'm not just trying to offend these guys, but this is comparatively not that huge considering on-demand liquidity. That's XRP. Maybe the works are on the background. We are not able to know that, the non-disclosure agreements, it will be there unless they go active in XRP ledger using the digital currency. But the positive news here is there is a lot improvement considering the last year. If compared with the last year, Brad Garlinghouse actually stated that in just 1 month, October of 2019, they had highest transaction than the entire 2018. So that's actually a positive news in my perspective. But as the community was actually expecting much higher things from this swell, expecting a price boom maybe to new all-time highs or at least till $1, they were all negative because they didn't get what they wanted. Even I was a little depressed, but then I did my research and I understood that we were all a bit more hyped than the reality, because in some time, maybe it will take a year or two, but the actual value of the digital currency due to its use case will come up. We can see here, there's a guy who states, I'm done. XRP, Ripple and Brad. I'm out. Your marathon, I've got a life to live, because maybe he put in the money which he can't afford to lose, and he will be sticking to the screen all the time, checking the price, whether the price is moving up, whether the price is going down. Now these are some key points of what actually happened in the swell for yesterday, because the event is actually not over yet. It's on today also. This is aside from XRP Arcade, I believe it's from Leonites. There's a good informative site for XRP community. Now they actually announced, as we said, 300 plus customers now. There's not an accurate figure or a precise figure saying we have 350, saying we have 310. This is 300 plus customers now, but compared to the last time, we have more. That's at least we are progressing, and that's compare it as a company, Ripple as a company, they are getting real customers with real use cases, and these customers are regulated institutions like say bank, financial institutions, not some Ponzi schemes, right? And this is what I just stated previously. In just 1 month of 2019, they got more than 2018 the entire year in terms of transactions, and more than 24 customers using on-demand liquidity, which is XRP ledger using the digital asset XRP. Now the volume has been increased by 7 times. It's a 7x since it's starting, so it's 24 plus customers using XRP. If we look back a little bit, we don't have to go like 5 years or 6 years or 4 years, or if we look at just 1 or 2 years back, there were companies, there were writers from reputed institutions coming out and stating no regulated financial institution is going to use XRP, a cryptocurrency. But now more than 24 of financial regulated institutions are actually using that. Now the next one is another corridor is actually going to be on soon from Australia with Brazil, Australian dollar to Brazilian real. So that means when new corridors are actually coming up, the companies like say MoneyGram, they have another corridor. They'll start using their transaction with on-demand liquidity. They don't have to keep their Nostro accounts there, just making their money sit idle. They can instead take at least say 20%, 50% of that money back into their company. They can use it for expanding their company, at least in a positive sense. They can reward their clients or at least their staff. Now this is actually Raghuram Rajan, previous central bank governor of India. He was in, and what I believe is he is a guy from the financial industry. He was central bank governor, right? So in here he's talking about people are losing faith on the traditional institutions. If you listen here, so that's a key thing to understand. Trust in global institution is going down. So people are looking at decentralized and safe and secure assets. They don't want to put our money in those institutions which may go bankrupt. So that's not that good. Now this is actually from Leonidas, which we visited his site just now. There's a good information. So RippleNet members across 34 countries. So these are member countries, 34 countries. Now they have the working nodes in the RippleNet. As the nodes increases, the value of the network increases. So hopefully we will be seeing a price following that. Yes, currently the price is not actually following that. It's more or less technical. And CEO of Ripple, Brad Garling, has also stated currently 99% of what's happening in digital assets is just speculation. So people are actually using their money to speculate. Now it's going to go up high. So if it didn't, you can't actually state it will, because it's a speculative use case. But if we stand 2 feet back and look at that, gold, take it gold or silver or a dollar, everything is used for speculation. So you can't actually complain about just cryptocurrencies being used for speculation, right? Everything is actually used in the financial institution. If you want to make profit, you're speculating that the price of this asset will go up. You're buying it at a low price, believing that you will get a bit of profit after some time. Maybe it will be 6 months if you are a trader. If you're an investor, maybe you are in for long term, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years. So in the same sense, technically, currently what's going on is just the speculation. But if we zoom out a little bit and look at it in a weekly chart, we'll understand there is difference. We've been lower than this. We visited hopefully the low. Now we are making higher lows each time when we are moving up high. That's actually a positive thing to look. And if we want to compare that with the previous, say in the trend which was being formed in 2014, not just in 2017 and late 2017, but if we want to get a clear picture, I personally believe that we'll have to zoom out a little bit more and look at it from 2014 at least. This is CoinPaprica, in which you have the charts from 2014. So as I just compared the price of XRP with BTC in that time frame, if we look at it in the terms of XRP and USD, in that case also we can see a trend like that. We crossed here, but it was a fake out. We actually came back into that same range. Then we slowly consolidated there for a long time. Now the pattern which we previously talked in our one video, which was also highlighted by another YouTuber named as Mr. Level Up, was this pattern, which is more or less, I'll say that 90-95% is similar to what's happening here. So if we just zoom in a bit to see what was happening there previously, we can see that there was a fake out. Then we dropped, then we went up, then we made a head and shoulder pattern and broke that overhead resistance. But during the time, it actually went up high one day, then it dumped immediately. So if we look at that close enough, we can see that we actually broke that area once, then we came back into the trading range, Yeah, not actually from where the price left a high, but we came back down there. Then we traded in that same area, we consolidated a bit, then there was a drop again. Only after that the price started picking up. So in cryptocurrencies, if you're not actually expecting some dumps, it won't be a practical scenario. It's the manipulation of price is there. I do agree that, because currently the price is not actually reflecting the use cases of different digital currencies. Because if we look here, there are more than 2000 digital currencies, and if you compare the price of these currencies, you don't actually see the real use case in I don't actually see the real use case. At least I don't see the real use case in most of the other digital assets. Yeah, I'll say Bitcoin, yeah, most of them consider it as a store of value, so at least it has one use. It will be having more than that. Then Ethereum, yeah, it does have a use case, right? The smart contracts are being worked on that, the ERC20 tokens are being made on that. So the Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, I believe there are being a lot of use case, but among these, XRP itself, I believe, is superior to others, because considering the transaction time, transaction cost, it's way superior than other digital assets. So hopefully you guys got my point of view when I was talking about the trend in technical. So just leaving the diamond pattern of other analyzers back and looking at it, the daily chart, if we actually try to touch all the lows here, we actually get a shape like this. It's more or less a rounded bottom. So we'll just zoom in a bit. Sorry about that. We'll just zoom in a bit and move it into a front and look. So if we are looking at this area, we already knew that the rounded bottom, this was the bottom. Then we tried this area and went up. So if we are trying to connect, even if we are trying to connect that lines precisely, we'll be going something like this, right? So we should have expected a drop back to at least this trend line. So there was a possibility, and it actually came true. So the rounded bottom, we are still being bottomed out. So that's all the information which I want to share with you guys today. Please do subscribe and like the content I provide. Hopefully in the next video, within 24 hours, I'll come back with a lot of updates as much as I can, and I'll meet you guys there.